What's going on, guys? 71 World from 71 World Productions here, back with another tier list ranking for you all. And last ranking we did, in addition to the previous ranking where I ranked all of the DCEU movies that came out, even along with Peacemaker, I decided to do another DCEU related video, and that's to rank the main villains in each movie. The villain that's basically the overarching main antagonist and the villains and the main threat that they have to face in the movie. In all of these movies. Now, a total of 13 villains to rank here. Again, I'm more focusing on the main villains, not all the villains, honestly. Honestly, I just thought it'd be fun to just do the main ones, honestly. The one that people consider to be the actual main threat. And of course, I'm ranking them based on just basically how much I just enjoyed their presence on screen and how much did they really pose a threat to our heroes, and just basically, again, just pure enjoyment overall. So we got 30 films right here, so enough being my bush. Let's get started. Feel free to hit like and subscribe button if you haven't, and I'd love to know how you rank all these villains down below in the comments. So enough being bush. So first up we have General Zod from Man of Steel, who apparently is actually probably going to be the main villain actually in The Flash as well, which is going to be interesting. And for the longest time I actually never really cared about General Zod, but I think upon most rewatches on this movie, I definitely to actually appreciate this kind of different version on this character. And I mentioned Michael Shannon is also a fantastic actor, and he plays him greatly. I would say it makes a lot of sense if you really think about it. Like, really? But as a whole, I really do like General Zod. I think Michael Shannon that really elevates his character. He does have some fun moments. He does have a great final battle with Superman throughout the movie, so I'm putting him in the good tier. Nothing extraordinary, but still a fun presence. Oh boy, now we get to Lex Luthor in Batman Superman, played by Jesse Eisenberg. It's one that's unanimously great in Batman Superman, honestly. Is that Lex Luthor in this movie, not good. Not good. And truly, I wouldn't say it's entirely just Eisenberg's fault, honestly. I'm sure he tried the best that he could, at Bollock to be his worst performance. And again, just Eisenberg is a great actor, though, again, not the actor I would honestly to portray Lex freaking Luthor. But I'm sure, of all the casting choices in that movie, that was probably the most questionable one. And honestly, for good reason, because, yeah, he was not good. He didn't feel, first off, he didn't really feel like what Lex Luthor really should be, a very menacing and methodical presence. And here, he's just a wannabe Joker. I'm doing it, mind you, the freaking John Rancher scene, like, seriously? That scene's so freaking cringy. Hey, people just play this kind of like a wannabe insane Joker, and not mentioning his plan doesn't really make a lot of sense, and it's full of coincidence that make it, and his twist is just so frustrating and questionable, and especially how he tricks Superman, and Superman just buys into it, and they're only with Doomsday and everything, like, yeah. Like a lot of people, I never really was fond of this version of Lex Luthor. It's probably the worst portrayal of Lex Luthor we have gotten so far. So yeah, definitely bad and terrible. Any bad in a terrible tier. And unfortunately, I was doing the same thing to Enchantress from the Suicide Squad, which again, I'm not having quite dig is that the villain in this movie also freaking sucks. And again, Hilda Finch is definitely a good actress, and she's honestly a kind of underrated actress, if I'm being honest, but again, like Jessica Biel, this is probably her worst performance, and I mean, I do find the kind of concept of this character kind of interesting, but she doesn't really do much around the movie, and she's not really a possible threat, and how she gets beaten and everything. Yeah. And then we have Ares from Wonder Woman. Now, as I mentioned before about this movie, I think I also mentioned this in my DC film ranking. The ranking is that the villains were probably one of the only minor issues I do have with the movie, and Ares is mainly considered to be the actual main villain in this movie. And not that I don't have a huge problem. Ares is just how this is probably him under the cause of evidence, kind of where people have a problem with the actual third act and all being just a big CGI battle again. I never really had a problem with that, but I think a lot of agree that it could have executed so much better. So like, he does have his moments, definitely, especially near the end after you could beat him, but could have been handled better. So he's going in the mixed bag category. Now we have Steppenwolf from the. Again, I include like both versions of Steppenwolf in this ranking. And I think it's likely that in the 2017 film, he was pretty much a freaking joke. Like, he was a freaking joke. And again, not to do with the acting. I feel like the actors do the best that they were given in these films, even though sometimes they're not the best. This one's put by C.R. Hinds, if I remember correctly. But again, an absolute joke. A joke where he's not threatening, not interesting, and not compelling. The visuals on him are terrible. He's just someone who wants to destroy the world and everything. And he doesn't really have any fun or entertaining moments throughout the movie. So yeah, probably the worst one so far. And it's going to be interesting to see where the Zack Snyder version will be on this list. But now we get to most of these villains are actually pretty good. And we're going to talk about Ocean Master from Aquaman. Aquaman! Top of the top tier. Yes, Ocean Master is a top tier DCEU villain. And he's played excellently by Patrick Wilson, has very compelling motivations, has a very great backstory, has threatening moments, has great moments between all his cast members throughout the movie. He's a big threat in this movie, and he has some fantastic moments that make him presence really well known. So, yeah, I've always loved Ocean Master. And now we get to Thaddeus from Shazam, who I actually never really got the hate for this character. I want to say, hey, I don't know, a lot of people just never really cared about Thaddeus and played by Mark Strong, but I never really understood that. I don't know if I'm the only one in anything, Steph, for being honest, but I've always liked Thaddeus in this movie. Honestly, I don't say he's like the most mind-blowing villain in the world, but again, he does have a great command, but hell, the movie freaking opens with this kid. I mean, hell, the movie freaking opens with this character. The movie freaking opens with the actual villain. The villain's telling his backstory and what happened with the powers and what led him to basically just go crazy and insane for so many years. It's been years. Again, it's sort of like cliche, but it's still leads to a lot of fun. He definitely throws up apprentice exam, and Mark Strong has always been a fantastic actor, and he definitely displays that. Again, it's probably I wouldn't say he's like the most compelling villain in the world, but again, I've always liked him, so that's weird. He's going in the amazing tier. But then we get to Black Mask from Birds of Prey. Another top tier villain. Again, probably not the most compelling to the backstory, honestly, but this is one of those villains that just knows what he's going for. Even Morgan knows the character that he's playing, and he embraces it. This is one of the cases where I think the performance really enhances the character. Because if you think about it, Black Mask only really has the best motivations in the world and anything, but it's really how the character is portrayed, and Ewan McGregor's just insane performance. Like, you can tell he is having the time of his life playing this character, and he has some really brutal moments and some really chaotic moments throughout the movie. But like, seriously, the shit he does is just insane and crazy, but that makes him such a compelling fun threat to watch. He has so many moments that just make me laugh, and the Duchess of Disaster is also pretty interesting. He's such an awesome presence, and it's the reason why he was here to be the best part of the movie, and honestly, he is the best part of the movie. Then we get to Maxwell Lord from Wonder Woman 1984. And again, it's probably my issue with the movie. Honestly, I've always liked Maxwell Lord, honestly. Again, this is another villain where I think is really enhanced by the performance, because again, the character itself is just very goofy, very 80s, and which aspect doesn't really make a lot of sense if you really think about it. But the character really is enhanced by Pedro Pascal, who, like I mentioned, is one of those actors that you can tell he's always having the time in his life when he plays whatever character he plays, and he's definitely proven that in The Mandalorian and most recently with The Last of Us. In this movie especially, he knows what character he's playing, and he hams it up to the F degree. That's what makes his character so much fun and so entertaining. I don't say his gameplay is not making much sense and everything. In fact, he's not the most in the world. Is probably why he's not top yet, but he's still good. Oops, but he's still good enough to go in the great tier. And now we have the Steppenwolf, the Zack Snyder version of Steppenwolf. And here's the funny thing: the Justice League version is probably the worst villain in the DCEU. And get this, I consider the Zack Snyder version to be the best. Again, that's why I mentioned it. We talked about it. It's a complete 180 involving what they did with Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf was kind of a joke in that movie. He was kind of a terrible character, terribly developed, not any motivations at all. But here, again, it's completely 180 where you do get his motivations. You do get why he does what he does and everything. And you actually are compelled by him, actually. And you actually kind of feel for him in some areas, which I did not expect going into this movie. When I first watched it, that was the big surprise. Is the fact that Steppenwolf was actually a great villain here. Like, and he feels like a legitimate threat. He feels like the big bad for the Justice League. And I am still shocked 2 years later that the Zack Snyder version actually ends up being the best villain in the DC extended universe. Like, whoa. So much fun. So compelling. It just plays the character so greatly. Has so many scary and dreading moments throughout the movie. And he feels like a legitimate threat. Which again, I did not expect at all. Okay, 3 more villains to talk about. We have Starco from the Suicide Squad. And we have Starco from the Suicide Squad. Again, if you like this guy, and they do find, it's not the most compelling villain in the world, because obviously he's a big giant starfish, so they do explain kind of the backstory, how that became what it was. But I think it's still good enough towards going in the great tier, because it does feel like, it feels like a true legitimate threat. And the final battle itself is fantastic. Then we get to Saban, if I'm not mistaken. And that's unforgettable. I said before, the villain of Black Adam is probably the most forgettable comic book villain in recent memory. I'm pretty sure nobody hardly even remembers that Black Adam even has a villain. Because if I'm supposed to have a villain, honestly, maybe you have a Black Adam. Yeah, and so they kind of last minute, like, oh, that's right, it's a super movie. It's supposed to have a major antagonist. And something against that at all, honestly, but there's nothing compelling or interesting about him at all. And it's not the worst villain in the world, which is why I'm not bringing the bad up. It's forgettable enough to where it goes to the mid tier. And then we have Lucy Liu's character, I forget the name actually, honestly, from Shazam Fury of the Gods. And it's going in the solid decent tier, honestly. I enjoy the villains, but I don't think they're like the best villains in the world, honestly. Honestly, I think her's the main one I'm putting here, so not much to say about her. She has some fun moments. Lucy Liu's fantastic as always. But there's nothing like great at the surface. Well guys, that is my ranking of all 13 DCU villains, with the bottom barrel being Steppenwolf for 2017's Justice League, Enchantress from Suicide Squad, Lex Luthor from Batman and Superman, Saban from Black Adam, X-Men Ares from Wonder Woman, Luthor's character from Shazam Fury of the Gods, General Son Black Man Steel, Starco from Suicide Squad, Maxwell Lord from Wonder Woman 1984, Thaddeus from Shazam, and the top tier being Black Mask from Birds of Prey, Ocean Master for Aquaman, and Steppenwolf for the Zack Snyder. I'm so surprised that he ends up being the best, right? Him being, but hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. Let me know your ranking down below in the comments. Let me know any like DCU videos you want me to do down below. I do have a little custom set for any videos you guys want me to do in the future. That's linked down below in the description, along with the PayPal link. I am Sam One World from Sam World Productions. I will see you again next time, and as always, stay cool, have a bad day. Peace.